Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review and glucose test on the limited run pumpkin bread from UnbelievaBun's. Viewers of this channel know I'm a pretty big fan of UnbelievaBun's. I've done all kinds of reviews of their products, including most recently their pumpkin spice bagels, which I felt weren't quite pumpkin-y enough. Well, in this video, I'm going to try out the pumpkin bread, which actually has pumpkin powder in it. And because we've got an additional ingredient from their base formula, I will be doing a blood glucose test. Now, I can tell you, even though this loaf isn't big, it is pretty heavy. This is a dense loaf of bread, and I would say a little bit bigger than your traditional loaf of banana bread. I grabbed 2 slices of this bread right from the center, so these are the thickest slices. And the texture on this is a little bit moist, a little soft. It does remind me a lot of banana bread. So the way I'm going to test this in terms of taste, texture, and blood glucose response is exactly the same as every bread product I've ever tasted or tested. Well, both. First, I'm going to try one piece, plain, untoasted, and then the second piece will be toasted with butter. And although the butter will blunt the glucose response a little bit, I want to keep this consistent with all the other tests that I've done. So, here we go. In terms of texture, similar to most of the other UnbelievaBun products. It's a little bit more moist, but it still has that ever so slight sponginess to it. Taste-wise, definitely more pumpkin-y than the pumpkin bagels. It's not a sweet taste though. I kind of feel like it could use a little more pumpkin spice, maybe a little more clove, a little bit more cinnamon. The pumpkin taste on this is a lot more like raw pumpkin than a pumpkin pie. It doesn't have that depth or that sweetness to it. But now I'm going to toast one up and see how that turns out. So here we go with the toasted and buttered piece. As seems to be the case very often, toasting and buttering makes any sort of keto or low-carb bread taste better. Certainly that's the case here. The thing is, the moisture content in this, it doesn't toast up to have sort of a little bit of a crisp to it like you typically get from toast. However, like all the UnbelievaBun products, I find that the moment you toast or griddle them, a lot of that sponginess kind of goes away. Still, not super strong on the flavor. In fact, the taste reminds me less of like pumpkin pie and more of wheat bread. Back when, and I don't mean like commercial wheat bread, I mean when my mom would make wheat bread back in the 70s. And that's sort of the taste that I'm getting from this, at least in my memory. I wish it were a little more pumpkin-y, honestly. In terms of ingredients and macronutrients, I don't have that information to share with you right now. Jared from UnbelievaBuns literally just put this up on his website minutes ago because I told him I was going to be recording this video. So I don't know if he's going to update it between now, the time I'm recording this, and Friday when I release this video, but hopefully he does and he puts the ingredients and macronutrients out there. I do know that according to the picture of the bread on the website, each slice is 1.3 grams of net carbs. I'm going to finish these 2 slices and see how it impacts my blood glucose. I'm wearing a Dexcom G7 continuous glucose monitor, and like all my tests, I'm in a fasted state and won't be doing anything for the next 2 hours that might impact my glucose result. So I'll see you soon. Alright, I'm back and ready to see how that pumpkin bread affected my glucose over the course of the last 2 hours. And to do that, I am using the Levels Health app, which imports the data from the Dexcom app and provides additional metabolic insights. Let's open this up. And it scored a 10 out of 10. That is the best possible score. Let's take a look at the details. You can see right there, that line, that is pretty stable. 10 points of glucose movement is all. That is excellent. Now, if you're interested in learning more about the Levels Health app and their subscription CGM program, I will include a link to that down below in the description. In terms of my overall impressions of this bread, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I think to love it, I would need a little bit more pumpkin flavor, maybe a little more pumpkin spice, a little more sweetness. But I think toasted, and if you took some cream cheese and mixed it with some pumpkin pie spice and spread that on, that would be pretty wonderful. Now, because UnbelievaBun products are made fresh with no preservatives, they ship them via UPS 2-day priority. And because of the holidays, that's going to kind of screw up shipping a little bit. Meaning, if you want to get this bread prior to Thanksgiving, the latest you could order this is on Monday. Let me look at the calendar here. That would be the 24th. However, they will continue to make this bread through Christmas. Another important point on the shipping, if you live on the eastern half of the United States, because their bakery is on the East Coast, shipping is free on orders, I think, over $35. However, if you live in the western half of the United States, shipping is pretty steep because of that 2-day priority thing. Anyhow, if you're interested in this UnbelievaBuns product or any of them, I will include a link down below in the description along with a coupon code for 10% off. But that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it or found it at least a little bit interesting. If you did, please click that like button. If you're not a subscriber already, tap that subscribe button, then hit the bell to turn on all notifications. And if you want to keep up to date with what's going on with Serious Keto, see the videos that I released the previous week, as well as some behind the scenes info, sign up for the Serious Keto newsletter. The link is down in the description below. Thanks for watching.